أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أبي القاسم محمد والصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين، سيما بقية الله في الأراضين حجة ابن الحسن العسكري عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. صلوات. قال الله عز وجل في القرآن الحكيم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت يطهركم تطهيرا. صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. This verse in the Holy Quran refers to the Ahlul Bayt. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Fatima al-Zahra, and Hassan and Hussain alayhim as-salam. This is the Ahlul Bayt. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to us that these people are the Massoumian, are the infallibles. Every single one of us, apart from the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wassalam, have fallibilities. Being fallible means that you can make mistakes. Being fallible means that you may not see reality as it is. You may have a vision of what you think is reality, but truly it may be something else. If you fall into the category that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has removed or not allowed anything that is impure to be part of you. When we say, by the way, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took away rajs from the Ahlul Bayt, it does not mean that they had no willpower. It was Allah's knowledge of the willpower of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salatu wassalam that allowed them to be risen to this position. So it wasn't by force. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that these are the people that make no mistakes. One of the attributes of not making a mistake is seeing things for how they are. I have ladies on my right hand side, gentlemen on my left hand side, I have youth, I have elderly, all sorts of people looking at me right now. But you all see different things. Your vision of reality differs to the person next to you, depending on what is in your mind. When a person wants to think about reality, or what is correct, there is an equation that goes through the person's brain. So for example, if I want to see what Kaaba is, I must go through a process. One is imagining Kaaba. So the processor, which is my brain, like a computer that has a processor, here's the word Kaaba, for example. Depending on each single one of us, that image that is stored in the back of our brains differs. So the processor, which is the brain, researches the word Mecca in our, or Kaaba in our brains, and then that picture which is stored in our brains comes forward, and we say this is Kaaba. When we reach Kaaba and we see it, how do we know it's Kaaba? Because that process takes place. So you imagine, you think, and you see. And you say this is correct. This is correct. Because it's the same picture that is in my brain. This is a processor that how the brain works. Now, when you look at me or look at this member of Abdullah alayhi salatu wassalam, you all see different things. When I say you all see different things, what do I mean? When you look at me, you see something different. When you look at the person next to you, you see something different. Do me a favor right now. Look at the person next to you. Go on, look at the person next to you. Yeah? Now, by looking at the person next to you, what you've done is brought to your mind certain attributes that you already had about them. When I look at that person, I see something different to what you do. Why? Because already there was certain information stored in your mind about the person next to you. And when you looked at them, that information came to the forefront of your brain. Therefore, the information that you had differs to the information that I had. My relationship to that person is different to your relationship to that person. It might be your sister, it might be your friend, it might be someone that you don't even like that sat next to you. Therefore, when you look at them, what happens is all that information rushes out and you make a conclusion. So some of you looked at each other like this, some of you smiled. Why? Because some of the information that you had was negative for that person, so you don't smile or you even become sad. But if the information is positive, that person makes you happy. If the information you have about them is positive information, you smile. Now, the physical features on the face and the body are controlled by the brain. But sometimes there is ways to trick the brain. So I'll give you an example. If you right now smile, go and try just smiling. When you smile, just to do it, no one's going to laugh at you. Try smiling. When you smile, it's very difficult to be sad at that particular moment. There is nothing to be happy about, Shama Ghariban. But because you're doing this, automatically your brain is no longer in the sad mode. There is a direct relationship with your physical being and your mental being. But going back to the concept of what you see when you look at me, what you see when you look at me is to do with the information that you had previous. So some of you have sat down with me in the previous years when I came to Toronto. Some of you have sat down with me during the Q&A sessions. Some of you have never seen me before. So each and single one, when looking at the same picture, has a different conclusion to what that picture means for them. But the picture is the same. The person that is sat next to you is the same person, whether I look at them or you look at them. But we have different conclusions of what we see. Why? Because we're fallible, because we make mistakes. When we look at 2 plus 2, we get 5. Some people get 6, some people get 7, some people get 3. Some people may get 4. But there is no guarantee that we get 4. Am I making sense for everybody? So the reality differs to different people, although reality is a constant, it doesn't change. What is real is what is real. But the reason I mentioned the ayah is that if we are fallible and we can make mistakes about what is reality, then we need divine guidance from those people that make no mistakes. So if we can go to the Ahlul Bayt alayhim wassalatu wassalam, so that we can be guided in the right path, in the right direction. Why? Because we know we're fallible. I'll give you some examples. When you look at the propeller of an aeroplane, have you seen the propeller of an aeroplane? Or that of a helicopter? When it moves very fast, when you look at it, it looks like it's moving very slowly. Just like tires on a car. It's moving very fast, but it looks like it's moving very slowly. So what you think is reality is just an illusion of what it actually is. For those people that smoke shisha, you have these coals, and some people, well, in the olden days, they used to put it in a small basket, it's a metal basket, and then swing it around. When you swing it around, it becomes a bowl of fire. Now this bowl of fire, when you swing it around, what does it look like? From a distance, it looks like a circle. And you can try this, you can try anything. If you swing it around fast enough, for the person looking at it, it looks like a circle. It doesn't look like what is actually happening. You see a circle that's red. Sometimes, for example, you're in the road, you think that you see water ahead of you. You get to it and it wasn't water. It was just a shadow that made it look like water. There is many other examples I can give you of how our eyes see something and our brain tells us that this is what we've seen, but it's completely incorrect. There is 2 ways of looking at things. There is the way of looking at things through the eyes and the iris and letting the brain process what is seen by looking at the information that is deposited previously. The processor goes back, picks up the pictures and says this is what you're seeing. Or you can look through the heart. Now this is a different subject, different aspect that we can talk another time. But looking through your heart at things is different from looking at your eyes. So for example, Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali alayhi salatu wasalam says that I see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but not through these eyes, through these eyes. A mu'min has conviction that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exists, not because he's seen Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but the heart has seen Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The heart has felt Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The heart has felt Imam Hussain alayhi salam. That's why they're here. And the heart and the eye in the heart in many times is far more powerful than the eyes in the head. Now, the eyes and the heart are very sensitive. And also, just like anything else, if you don't use it, you lose it. It needs to be sharpened. How is the eyes in the heart sharpened? By having a soulful relationship with the unseen. What is the unseen? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins in Surah Al-Baqarah. It says what? الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. All those people that want to be guided by this book, هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. Who are the muttaqeen? The people that believe in the unseen. So not everything in front of them is what they see with their eyes, but what they see with their heart. Those people that believe in Alam al-Ghayb are the ones that are going to be directed in the right path. This Holy Quran is for those people. So if you want to look at it with your eyes only, and with your brain that has 1,000 different mistakes that is stored up there, and every time you see something gives you something else, because of that misinformation that is stored up there, then it's not going to be useful. But if you believe in the unseen, and you believe that your heart has that power to guide you in the right direction, the Holy Quran is for you. يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. They believe in the unseen. Imam Hussain and Ashab al-Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam believed in the unseen. They went to Karbala not because it made sense in dunya terms. They weren't going to gain fame, money, power, but no. They were going to gain the happiness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A mu'min strives through his or her life for one goal and one goal only, to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you don't please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what happens? That system that is within you aches and pains. Now, when I said it's sharpened, imagine that you have a knife and you use it for different purposes. Now, if it's not sharpened, it will not cut properly. The powers that we have within us subconsciously push us in the right direction. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created it within us. So for example, when you give a donation today, you feel good. Why is it you feel good? Some people feel better than others. Why? Why is it that, for example, if you help someone that is needy, you feel good? Why is it if you volunteer to clean the toilets, you feel good? Why is it if no one sees you doing a good act, you feel even better? Why is it? Because inside you, within ourselves, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created this system. This system that is similar to the alarm system that you have in your phones or your alarm clocks. So what happens is when you make a mistake, it rings and tells you know what? Wake up. You're doing something wrong. You're making a mistake. Now, depending on how many times you wake up and listen to that alarm clock, it changes how sharp your system is. Because every time you wake up and listen to it, you make it sharper and sharper and sharper. Eventually you get to the stage where you don't need an alarm clock to wake up anymore. You're up. However, if your alarm clock begins to ring, for example, you see a bunch of friends and they all drink alcohol and they don't want to drink alcohol, and your alarm bell rings and says, you know what, you should not hang around with these people. They're not going to take you to the right path. If you don't listen to the alarm clock and press the snooze button, what happens? It slowly, slowly dies. If you press the snooze button enough times, it dies completely. So the alarm clock within every single one of us is put there by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with a specific purpose to get us to completion, to get us to the destination that we want to be in. But we have to listen to it. Every time that a mu'min listens to that alarm clock and wakes up with it, it becomes sharper and sharper. If you get sharp enough, you see reality for what it is. If you see reality for what it is, doing good deeds becomes naturally to you. And acting on what is haram becomes something that is impossible for you to do. If they chop your body into pieces, you will not act on something that is haram. If they take your arm and try to force you to do something haram, you will not do it. Why? Because the system works perfectly. Allah created it perfectly and used it perfectly. Now people abuse that system. When you abuse the system and you kept pressing the snooze button, or you throw away your alarm clock altogether, what happens is Shaitan can get in and show you a different reality. He can paint a picture that's completely different to the truth. He can paint a picture that drinking alcohol is fun, it's good, taking drugs is good, not having faith is good, not coming to the mosque is good, going out with these friends is good. And that picture becomes a concept of reality in your mind, and you act up on it. And when you act up on it, you only realize when it's too late, when Shaitan has got what he wanted. That's why when you look at the Holy Quran, it says, go towards these people that are Massoumian, the Ahlul Bayt. Imam Hussain is part of these Massoumian. We said the Ahlul Bayt were 5 people. One of them is Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wassalam. The system of Imam Hussain is perfect. It is our imperfections that see it as imperfect. We see the Zawar Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam. We see the mourners of Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam. Different people do different things. Sometimes we can't grasp why they do it. Sometimes we can't understand it. Sometimes we look at them in their eyes that we are right and they're wrong. Why? Because Shaitan is doing this. In reality, everyone has a way and a link to Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam. No one's link is better, no one's link is worst. No one's performance is better, no one's performance is worst. The Afghans may sit down and do their martyrdom sitting down. Iraqis may stand up. Lebanese may do it a different way. One should not think that their concept of reality is correct and everyone else is wrong. The only reality that's correct is from the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam. If you bring me a hadith from the A'immah, if you bring me an ayah from the Holy Quran, then yes. But everything else is questionable. Hence, in this world that you have so many different versions of reality, it becomes confusing unless we stick to the truth. And the truth is only 2 things: Quran, Ahlul Bayt, nothing else. Part of this is the system of Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam that we'll come to tonight. Why is it that when we shed tears from Hussain alayhi salatu, forget akhirah and forget what the malaika write for us, at that moment we feel good within ourselves? When we cry for Imam Hussain alayhi salatu, we're the first people that benefit from it. At that particular moment, even before we shed the tears, when we have the intention to shed the tears from Imam Hussain alayhi salatu, automatically something changes within us. The tears from Imam Hussain are part of the system of cleansing. Remember I told you there's a whole system inside with the alarm clock? So sometimes it becomes rusty. What does the tears do? It oils it up. It fixes it back up. So many people have lost touch with reality, with what the truth is. So what do? They've gone on the wrong path. They've made mistakes. And maybe it's because they've seen reality in a different way. So for example, if they see me as the cleric, as sitting on the member, say something wrong or do something wrong, and they say Imam Hussain is wrong. It's irrelevant. So many Muslims make mistakes every single day. It's nothing to do with Islam. I make a mistake. I'm fallible. If Imam Hussain makes a mistake, yes. But there is no mistakes from the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam. So the concepts of reality differ. If we go on the wrong side and we want to press the reverse gear, how do we do this? One of the best ways is through these tears. And the tears don't have to be just for Muharram and Safar, by the way. See, we concentrate on tears. There is a reason I concentrate on tears. Because there is something in the unseen. So people talk about, you know what, we should do this and we should learn this and have an intellectual conversation and have academical fields and have research and papers, give it, all the rest of it. But the fact is, there is something in the unseen about the system of Abu Abdullah alayhi salatu wassalam. And not just Imam Hussain, all the A'imma. When you go to ziyarat, you become vaccinated against the dirt, against all the things that are wrong. You go to the haram and you come out a different person. Not because you go to the haram and you've done something special. No, you walk into the haram with the intention of ziyarat, you come out differently. Automatically, your insides are washed out. They're cleansed. You get a service. When you pray correctly, the same thing happens. When you shed tears for Abdullah alayhi salatu wasalam, or when you shed tears for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for akhirah, that is what happens. You make a restart. You press the restart button. You turn the clock around and you make sure the alarm clock works properly. And Allah keeps giving us chances. Until we're alive, we have these chances. So right now is one of those times to restart that clock. Give a restart to the system. I was told to make the lecture short, so my apologies if I went over time. Tonight is the night of Masa'ib, not the night of lecturing. But I only have one more night to finish my discussion, so my apologies. The Masa'ib of Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wassalam and the Ahlul Bayt. The night of Ashura were plenty. However, what happens tonight and tomorrow is far more painful than what happened previous to it. At this time in Karbala, in Ashura, the men had all gone. Every single one of them. And the ladies were fearing for their lives. Can you imagine? They've never had a situation where their men have gone. There is a hadith that says that someone came to Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salatu wassalam, and he saw our fourth Imam crying. He says, "Oh, Zain al-Abidin, why is it that you're crying? In your family, shahada is normal, martyrdom is normal. Your father Ali was killed, your grandfather the Prophet was killed, Fatima al-Zahra was killed, Imam Hassan was killed, and Imam Hussain was killed. Why is it you're crying? Why is it different this time that you're so impatient?" You know what Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam said? He said, "You're right. Martyrdom to us is normal. We've gone through it. But taking our children, our wives, our women captive, no. This is something that we've not gone through before. This is something that has never happened before. Ayyuhan nas, do you know? The first time women were made captive in the history of Islam was in Karbala. Before that, it never happened before. Men were taken captive, yes, but women never before. The case of Zainab was the first time. Tonight is the night of Zainab. Tomorrow is the night of Zainab. These nights are the night of Zainab, salamullah. Anyone that has hajat, tonight is the night that your heart speaks to Zainab, salamullah alayha. Ummul Masa'ib, the mother of all Masa'ib, the mother of patience. Umar ibn Sa'd had opened water to the ladies, but no food. He sent the ladies camels. And he said, "Get on the camels so we can go." And he sent them another person to help. Who was in charge of that person? Was Shamr ibn al-Jawshan. At this point, the ladies see the camels waiting for them. Who is in charge of the ladies? Zainab salamullah alayha. She gets every single one of the ladies, the children. Now what happens at this stage? You have orphan children. What do people do when they have orphan children? Oh, people, you're good people. What do you do when you see an orphan child? You stroke their hair? You strike their face? You kiss them, no? But what happened to Ruqayya? What happened to Sukaina? As soon as they tried to move forward, they were whipped and they were lashed. As soon as they tried to go with Bibi Zainab salamullah alayha, they were hit on the face and on the back. Their hijab was pulled from their heads. These small children of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, the daughters of Fatima al-Zahra salamullah alayha, had their earrings pulled away out of their ears. Zainab salamullah alayha manages to put everyone on the camel. All is left is Zainab and Zain al-Abidin. Imam Zain al-Abidin says, oh Zainab, you go first. Zainab says, no, you go first. And then Zainab looks to the body of Abu al-Fadl Abbas. She says, oh Abbas, you brought me here. You're the one that put me on the camel on the way here. Why aren't you here to put me back on the camel, oh Abbas? Where are you, my dearest brother? You were my protector in Karbala. Zainab salamullah alayha gets onto the camel. Shamr says to them, they must go through the bodies before they go to Kufa. When they get to the bodies, one by one the ladies scream out and say, wait. First of all is Layla. Layla's looking for Ali al-Akbar. He said, oh man, take me to the body of my son. Oh man, take me to Ali al-Akbar. She sits down next to the body of this 18-year-old man. He says, oh Ali al-Akbar, you were my pride and joy. Everything I had in life was you. Oh Ali, you were the pride and joy of Aba Abdullah alayhi salam. Why is your head separated from your body? As soon as Zainab takes Layla away from the body of Ali al-Akbar, Rabab shouts, says, where is my baby? I have water for him. Where is he so I can go and see him? As soon as Zainab takes Rabab, Ramla says, I want to see Qasim one more time. She sits down next to the body of Qasim, the orphan of Karbala. Zainab comes down as well. She says to him, this was your auntie. This is your auntie Zainab. Look at the way she's sitting on the ground today. That was Zainab yesterday. This is Zainab today. Get up and protect your auntie, O Qasim. Zainab salamullah alayha manages to bring the ladies back. She puts them on the camels. Shem says, okay, now we need to bring out the chains. They chain the feet, they chain the neck and the hands of the ladies of Ahlul Bayt. They take them captive and they pull them along on the plain of Karbala until Sukaina and Ruqayya, I don't know how, they find the body of Aba Abdullah alayhi salam. These children sit next to the body of Aba Abdullah. They would not move. Anyone tries to move these little girls from their father, they do not succeed. Everyone comes down, tries to pull them away, and he said, no, our father was the most best person in the world. We would not leave his side. The head of Aba Abdullah is on a spear. The head of Imam Hussain is looking at his Ahlul Bayt. He's looking at the girls that are on his body. Some of the Maqatil say Sukaina and Ruqayya became unconscious. That's the only way that Zainab salamullah alayha was able to remove the bodies and get them to the camels. When Zainab goes into Kufa, people give a sadaqah. She says, Ayyuhan nas, we are the Ahlul Bayt of the Prophet. Sadaqah is haram upon us. Until one lady says, come to me, I have cooked you food. My duty is that any captive that comes to Kufa, I make them food. Zainab salamullah alayha says, who are you and why are you helping us? She said, I am a lady that lives in Kufa. One day I had a son that was sick. I went to Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. He said the doctor is Hussain. I went to his son Hussain and Hussain gave shafa to my son. So for the thawab of Hussain, any captive that comes to Kufa, I give them this food. Zainab says, look at there, Dar al-Imara, there is a door. Oh lady, look on the top of the door. Do you recognize whose head is on there? She looks and sees the head of her master, Abu Abdullah alayhi salam, on the door of this building of Dar al-Imara. She sits down next to Zainab. They both hit themselves on the head. وجلست زينب على الأرض الكوفة ونادت وعليا وحسينا. Can you imagine if Fatima al-Zahra was to see this? The Sha'ir, the poet says, فاطمة لو خلت الحسين مجدلا وقد مات عطشانا بشط فراتي. Oh Fatima, get out of your grave. Get out of your grave and see your son next to the river of Farad. He has been slaughtered whilst being thirsty. Oh Fatima, come and sit down in the majlis of Azza of Abu Abdullah alayhi salam. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم يا الله يا الله يا الله يا Allah. Everyone with your tears, if you have any hajat, remember them. Remember the hajat of all the mu'mineen and mu'minat that have asked you for your prayers, inshallah. Remember them in your du'as as well. And let's do a tawassul to our Imam. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن. Everybody shout louder, louder. وعلى آبائه. With tears, huh? شام غريبان tonight. الساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلى الله على محمد وآل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. صلوات.